Hello, everyone. I'm Dominique Johnson-Lindsay, and welcome to the Active Listener Podcast by Lightspeed. For the past 3 decades, Lightspeed has journeyed with educators and tech experts across school districts. With our Active Listener Podcast, we are bringing the stories and experiences of our customers, education experts, and our own team members on how listening is foundational to education. Tune in as we amplify these vital voices and understand more about the people shaping the future of education. We hope every podcast listen will be a learning opportunity with Active Listener. Hi, everyone. My name is Dominique, and this is the Active Listener Podcast. I'm so excited to have Ed Hilton joining us today. So before we get started, Ed, tell our audience who you are.
Okay, thanks, Dominique. It's great to be here. My name is Ed Hilton, as you said, and I'm the Chief Technology Officer for the Tahoe Truckee Unified School District, which is in the Sierra Nevada mountains of Northern California. We're pretty much right in between Reno, Nevada, and Sacramento, California, on the Sacramento side of the state line. And our school district has just about 4,000 students. And we are the second largest school district in California by square miles, not by students. So we're right behind LA Unified at about 723 square miles of district. We cover 3 counties, and our buses roll over 100,000 miles a year. And we have 80% ridership. There's lots going on up here in the mountains, 11 schools, about 30% English learners, 40% free and reduced lunch. And we just love learning up here in Tahoe Truckee, and we love technology as well. And so I feel like I have the best job ever. I started as a teacher, elementary school, middle school teacher, high school teacher, and then went into technology. And it's pretty much all been here at Tahoe Truckee. This is my 19th year in the school district, and I love this place. It's a great place to have your family, raise kids, and then also just be able to connect with a small community. Even though we're kind of spread out, it is a small community, and we get to meet so many amazing people just being in kind of a tourist area. There's lots to do in the summertime and in the winter, and we already have some snow on the ground, which is great for this holiday season.
That's so interesting. I always find it so fun when you say it is snowing out there. I think for someone like me living way across the country, you just don't think about snow over there. So that's
especially
so
with
cool.
California. Everybody thinks we sit on the beach all day and work on our tans, but we had so much snow last year. We had to close some of our schools down because our roofs couldn't take the snow load. There was so much snow. Over 700 inches at the school that I was a principal for a couple of years too, up on Donner Summit, and we had over 700 inches of snow last year. It was amazing. Yeah. But we need it. It's good for the fire season. We also have forest fires up here in the summertime. So it's been good getting that rain last season. So yeah, it's a great place to play and be outdoors as well.
Gotcha. I love it. So you gave us so much good information, and you really leaned into why I wanted to talk to you. And that's because you have such a unique district to me, that you are this small rural district, but, in such a big state. And so one of the things I wanted to kick off by asking is, what are some of the unique challenges that you feel like small or rural districts face when implementing new technologies that's a little bit different from, a larger district?
No, that's a great question. And this is my 10th year being kind of the technology lead in the district. And, since it's a small district, I've had other jobs at the same time, one of them being a principal. But, just kind of watching technology shift over the last 10 years, and there's been so many changes. You're right. There are definitely some challenges. And I'd say the first one that's difficult for us is just being kind of secluded or separated from where kind of maybe you'd say the action is at, like when you're down in Sacramento or the Bay Area, and you have a lot of other school districts and companies and organizations, and you just are always aware of what's next. It's kind of for us, we have to kind of keep ahead of it. And I really rely a lot on some of the networks that I'm part of, like SITE, which is a California IT administrators group, and then also Q, which is kind of on the ed tech side of things for California. Just to kind of stay up to date, and those networks and using technology and just hearing what other people are doing is really helpful for us, especially not being able to be in the same kind of in-person networks. It's gotten a little better since, the pandemic, and people are having more virtual meetings and we can be included in more things. But just to get to our county office is over an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. So then that's 4 hours out of your day just driving back and forth, and that's without snow. So in some ways, we kind of have to make it for ourselves and make sure that we're trying to get into the opportunities, going to the trainings, seeing what's going on, and kind of help ourselves to connect and see what's going on. That's kind of like the first challenge, just making sure that we're aware of what's happening. I think another challenge for implementing new technology is just being able to have like the scalable efficiency of purchasing technology. And as you know, technology is always changing. It can be expensive. And I think some of the larger districts, if you're buying 5, 10, 15,000 devices, you can get a lot better deals than you can if you're just buying 1 or 200. And so that's another thing that we've found that's a challenge. Thankfully, we've had some good vendor partnerships over the years that have really helped us to put some new technology into our classrooms, and those and I call them partners, because some vendors, if you're a small district, you kind of, your reps change a lot, and it's good. They get promoted, they go on, but we just don't get the same kind of maybe service that a larger district gets. But there's a couple that have just really taken us under their wing. One would be CDW. Our rep is the same rep that reps for I mentioned LA Unified before. He's their rep. Another one is Lightspeed Technologies, which does our AV equipment. They've personally visited us and helped us when we were doing our bond projects and rebuilding our classrooms. And so I really appreciate it that there's a few companies out there that really take the extra time for a small district and treat us just like the big ones as well. So that kind of the fiscal conversation can be a little bit harder for smaller districts as well.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I was going to say one of the things that's been really good up here is that we do have an educational foundation, and they've been really interested in kind of helping us fund some of our projects. One big one right before we went out for a bond was kind of looking at the future of classroom technology. And this is going back about 14 years, but they gave us like $50,000 to have 8 teachers that were from each grade span. We're a unified school district from transitional kindergarten up through 12th grade. And we took a few teachers from each grade span and just said, if money was no object, what would you do in your classroom? So they just dreamt, and it was great to have our educational foundation to fund that and to help us out. And a lot of the decisions that we made as part of that small group back, that was back in 2010, made it into our bond projects. And then when we built all our classrooms out, we have about 250 classrooms, and we were able to take those ideas and put them into every classroom.
I love that. I love that like collaborative approach to like get it done. And that's definitely something I guess that I kind of wanted to ask about, because I know one of the other things that I've heard just from having these conversations is about the adoption of the new technology. So it's one thing to go out and get technology. It's another thing to make sure that the people that you purchased it for, whether it's teachers or students or whomever. So what are things that you do to facilitate adoption in your district?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for us, it's been, and we have some very veteran teachers. About 40% of our teachers have been here 10 years or longer. And so sometimes like pushing new initiatives or trying to support change can be challenging in some ways. That said, I think one of the things that we've done to help it out is to help adoption and to increase use of new technology is to kind of just start small and organic. And we try not, because we're so small, we can kind of be more relational about how we connect with our teacher. I mean, really, it's me, and we have a small tech team of about 6 of us. And we know all the players at all the schools, and who, if we can get them like excited about something, that they're going to tell like 2 or 3 other folks. So we don't have like a big, systemic way of doing things. It's kind of like, get it out there to a couple of people, really help them and support them using it. And then it's kind of like, it just kind of goes around the school. It's like, oh, that's so cool. Wouldn't it be great if we had that in our classroom? And so like just one example of that was just, kind of going all the way back to our classroom of the future, picking certain teachers that were excited about trying new things and really supporting them. And then as they start to adopt and see great things happening with their students in their classroom, they bring their grade levels along, they bring their school buildings along. So I'd say we've been a little less structured than maybe, certain tech departments might be in a bigger district, just because we're smaller and we can have some of that relational connection. And then maybe a teacher shares, I wish I could do X, whatever that is. And then I can find something, get 1 or 2 of them, try it out. And then once they, are starting to have success, that just that grows from there. And so our one-to-one program is just like one of the ways that we started that out. This was back in 2012. We started Chromebooks, and we had a team that was really excited about using technology in the classroom. And so we took that whole 8th grade team, and they decided that the next year they really wanted to just go all out in technology. So we bought, again, with the support of our foundation, one-to-one technology for the whole 8th grade. And it didn't take long. Next year, the 7th grade wanted it too, and then the 6th grade. And so we kind of started from the middle and worked out for our like one-to-one adoption. And the funny thing was, is we finished, I don't know, it's funny, but it was definitely fortuitous that we finished our one-to-one rollout with K1 December of 2019. So little did we know what was happening in March of the next year when we were shutting our buildings down. But that it took us a whole almost 10 years to complete that entire rollout. So it was maybe a little slower than other districts, maybe a 2-year or 3-year plan, but we feel like kind of that long game really had a lot of buy-in, and people weren't forced to go faster than they were maybe comfortable with. And then when it came time, March of 2020, when we closed down our schools, we were able to, within 2 days, move to virtual learning, where other districts, took weeks, didn't have the equipment, whatever it was. It was just really great to have everybody was on board. And, we still had folks that were, just having challenges with technology, but they learned so quick because it was just part of the culture. So we talk about how that 2 days, we did like 5 years of PD in just 2 days, and we had everything that we needed, all the technology we needed. And, as a result, our learning loss certainly wasn't as much as the statewide average. So, it was definitely something to be proud of. So we like to start small and be relational about the technology and the exciting things that folks can do in the classroom.
I love it. I love it. That's such a feel-good story. A lot of times we talk about stuff that happened in the, time that we want to remain unnamed, but, I feel like that's such a feel-good story to know that you all had done so much work and preparation just for business as usual, but it paid off for the pandemic. One question that comes to mind is, what kind of lesson or what kind of takeaway from the pandemic do you feel like still exists in the technology infrastructure that you all have today? So obviously outside of just like the physical devices, like what do you feel like was the lesson that you all have been able to carry with you?
Yeah, that's another great, that's a good reflective question, like thinking back, coming away. And I can't believe it's been like 4 years. It'll be 4 years in March that all that happened. And, we're still kind of dealing with it. But I think the big learning or the big like takeaway, and we talk about that a lot, like what happened, what we went through, all the learnings we had. But I think the big one is that I think a lot of times when you have an idea or something that's you want to do, you feel you have to have it like all planned out. like all the structures in place, every I dotted, every T crossed, and then until you can go and do something, right? And it's like, and that's a lot. And then you think about all the things that could go wrong and all the challenges that are in the way. And there's a lot of excuses that you can make to say, oh, I'm not going to do it, right? And so I think coming out of the pandemic is we really realized that, even if you just try one thing or take a risk in this area, that we can just the little changes here and there can make big wins. And just, step out, like even if it's not all like baked, maybe it's half baked idea, just go out and try it. And you get some movement, right? And then that's something that, I think some of us who like to move fast, get frustrated with education because it's just like, oh, change takes so long and we've always done it this way. And how do we move forward? And so that's why, again, like just the little things, little conversations, working with one teacher, just kind of go get it started, because that's the hardest part. Just go get it started with what you got, even if it's not all fully developed. And the pandemic kind of showed us that, because we didn't know like one day to the next what was going to happen. So we kind of learned to pivot. And, that word, I hate the pivot, like, be adaptive, all those things. But it really is true that we don't have to wait. And we have all these years of kids that are in our schools, and we need to prepare them for, I've heard it many times, the jobs that we don't even that aren't even here yet, right? So, so let's not wait. Let's just try little things a little quicker, and I think we'll get big results. So, so that's my big takeaway: that it's okay to just start small, and you don't have to have it all fleshed out yet before you start something new.
I love it. And we also had another person who kind of mentioned something similar, and I'm like, yeah. The thing, because I think a lot of times, especially in schools, you want to have it perfect. You want to get it down to a science. And it's like, sometimes you just got to get it out there.
Totally. And I get it. I'm glad we're a little bit, we want to make sure we're kids here. We want to make sure everybody's safe, and, we want to make sure that our students are still learning. But a lot of things, it's like, let's take a little risk. Let's step out ahead. And I think for our students, it's going to be amazing for them. So just so exciting to have and to be able to work with people who are, willing to take those risks as well and step out for the sake of our learning community. That we're all, and that's the other thing too, we're all learning. That's another piece of it too. It's like, and I think a lot of teachers realized during that pandemic time, it's like, wow, like, I'm still a learner, and we can move ahead, and I can do something different. I saw some great veteran teachers be so creative using technology, and so we're never done learning.
That's a good one. So thinking ahead, you said something that was so like profound, and that is preparing kids for the jobs that we don't even know exist. And so with that in mind, what technology do you think will have a big impact within the next 5 to 10 years? Just thinking about all the transitions that you've already seen. Mm-hmm.
Another great question. That's a good one. I think it's been hard because the last, 10 decade or so, maybe a little bit longer, it's like we had the PC computer, and then the internet, and then kind of like mobile computing with our cell phones and tablets and things like that. There's all these kind of revolutionary steps. And then the last 10 years or so, it's kind of been like, what's next? What's coming? And, and then, I hate to be a broken record, but one of the things I get really excited about is artificial intelligence and AI. And, you've probably heard that before. I'm not as like, wow, this is going to solve all of our problems. I kind of like, I'm a little like, okay, let's just like try this out and take a risk and see how it works. And so, when it first came up about this time last year, the teachers started hearing about it and students using it. I mean, we of course got the first few calls like, oh, we got to block this. We can't have students cheating on their assessments or questions or homework or whatever. And I think the one thing that's been really cool is we never got to the point where we had to block it. And we're already in a partnership with a couple of companies that are testing their AI products for students with our school district. So that was really cool to have some of those relationships where we could try things ahead of time. But I think it's really cool. And I'm going to say for kind of jump into equity for all of our students, because when I was a kid and my mom was she stayed at home and raised us. And whenever I had questions on homework, I had Chat GPT mom, that I could go ask like a question and she would like help me out with my homework. And I would give my essay to her and she'd read it and mark it up. So it's really cool for our families. And like I said before, we're 30% EL, 40% free and reduced. We have a lot of kids that go home and they don't have a big sister or a parent. They're out working or maybe working a couple jobs just to be able to. It's very expensive to live in California and up here in our area. And so being able to have tools where students can ask questions and get support, kind of like go a little deeper in their thinking, not just, and so being able to use these tools with our students, with our teachers, and see them not as just asking questions and getting answers, but how can I, when I'm just kind of like not sure what to start with, how could I start an outline, or how could I make this better? What are some changes I could make? So I think it's something that we'll continue to see maybe over the next 5 or 10 years. That's going to be really powerful for us. And we're just kind of at the front end of it where people are we're seeing all the cool tools and things like that. But as it gets incorporated into all the different things that we use, whether it's our phones or cars, the technology that we use, I think it could be really powerful for us, especially in education.
I love it. Yes, this is the common theme that we've been seeing. And I think with the people we've spoken with so far, it's been great to hear how you all have embraced it and tried to figure out ways to make it work within the school. And even you talking about it helping with equity is so important, where on the equal and opposite side, people have introduced it as a problem. And I love to hear how our people think about it as solutions, because I think that's just so important and something we always want to do and support is like solutions in the classroom.
Right. And it's always good for me. I talk a lot in metaphors and to help, like, we had a few teachers, like, wow, the kids are going to be able to cheat. And I'm like, well, let's say a kid goes home and they need help with your assignment and they ask their parent. Is that cheating? And, or, using a Chrome, if there's a technology problem, would you take, they want to take away the Chromebook or or block a website or something. It's like, well, do you take away the pencil and paper from a student, or when one child needs some more support or they're not using something inappropriately, do you take it away from all the students, that's just not the way we do things. So it's just, sometimes it's, with technology, when people are, especially new technologies, to kind of think in metaphors and help them think about the things in the past that, oh my gosh, the overhead projector or the whiteboard, or, we just, there's been a lot of technologies over the year, the television, that people get really, excited about and, or, challenged by. But if we can look, like you said, a possibility and not just look at the challenges, but look at what the possibilities are, I think, that's the best we can do for our kids, because they're going to have these tools at some point in their lives. And if we can help them learn how to use them in a safe learning environment, even if they make mistakes, that's amazing, because that's what we do. We learn. And I would love for them to, experiment, fail, learn, and kind of repeat over and over again. And then when we're able to let them go, college, career, life, wherever their dreams take them, that they have those skills, that it doesn't matter what new technology is going to come up, that they can learn it, use it, change, help their lives, help their communities.
I love it. That's so good. And I love that, that vision is embedded in somebody like you that has the ability to touch the students in the district and really get it to them. A lot of times, there's always a disconnect between what the end goal should be. I love to hear this, and especially for someone like me that doesn't get to get out a lot and talk to people. It's always inspiring to hear, like, okay, these are the people in charge of the technology decisions. I think that's so good.
Thank you. And it's been cool to see. We just finished a strategic plan process with our school board and our community, and there's a lot of like input into the strategic plan. And it was really cool to see how kind of there's been this big shift where technology. We used to like think of technology as something we had to teach the technology, and you would do it when we had computer labs. You do the technology down the hall. Technology was like this core part of our strategic plan, 10 years ago. Now we're like, tech is just like in every part, whether we're talking about facilities or custodial or teaching and learning or special education, like technology is just embedded in all the different areas. So this strategic plan, we did not have a separate technology piece. It's just like embedded in everything that we do. And to really see technology as the tool that we use, to move that strategic plan forward. So it's been a cool shift for us to have not only the access to technology, but seeing technology as something that can really help us out. It's not the thing, it's the tool that allows us to learn more effectively, efficiently, support our students, support our staff, wherever we're at. So, we just had some pretty good results over the years, with tech.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So last question is, what is the one piece of technology you're specifically looking forward to utilizing in your district this school year?
This school year, one piece of technology. I'm just going to go back to it. I talked to you about like starting small. AI is something that we haven't rolled out across the district. We haven't blocked it across the district. However, we've started offering like some professional development about once a month. We meet with some teachers who are interested in using it. And we've had, I'd say about a dozen teachers so far, which that's about 5% of our district, our teaching staff. And like I said, we were partnering with a company called sandbox.chat and with our high schools. And we have 2 or 3 teachers at each of our comprehensive high schools who we're supporting. They're using it. They're getting excited about it. And it's one of those things that we hope that, again, we're starting small, get a little energy around a new tool. And then people start looking, some kids are like, wait, Mr. Jones is using that in his class. What's that all about? And I can use it on my homework. That's kind of cool. And, just kind of starting small, and then we'll see, do a little bigger push this next year. But I'd like to get something in place. There's just so many AI tools out there. And I'm just would like to get a tool or 2 that we could really use and put out there that's safe for our students to use and safe for our teachers to use, especially around data privacy. And that's one thing that I know tech directors and CTOs have been, worried about the last year and a half or so, just like those, data breaches and ransomware attacks on their students. And we just have so much precious information that we protect about our students and their learning and what they're doing. And so that kind of keeps me up at night. So I just want to make sure that they're cool tools, and we talk about that a lot, but that they're also safe. So this year, just kind of getting our feet wet and making sure that the tools that we share with everybody else are safe and exciting for our students to use.
Yeah, well, that sounds good. That sounds like amazing, and I'm glad you're already seeing some of that, steam pick up on it. I think AI is so cool. So, So my last 2 questions are fun. So,
sweet.
You ready to switch gears just a little bit?
Sure.
So the first question is, if you had the power to eliminate one barrier to learning, instantly, what would it be?
Instantly, one thing, I would say making sure that every student is able to come to school, and that's one half of it, to come to school. And when they come to school, that they're ready to learn, that they're not hungry. They've had a nice warm bed to sleep in. They're rested, and they feel like that when they go home, they're going to be cared for, safe, secure. And I just think in the world, we just see so much around where families are insecure, whether it's around jobs or opportunity or things like that. Parents working multiple jobs. I just wish more of our families could just take a breath and be able to relax a little bit and focus on their families and their kids' education. And I wish the kids didn't have to worry about their own families. So that'd be the one thing I would wish. I mean, we have so many tools, so many things that in our schools, and our teachers do a lot. But if kids could come to school, attendance has been a really big issue for us. If everybody could come to school and that they'd be ready to learn, I wish we could get that going for 100% of kids. It would be amazing.
I love it. And then last one. So I think that everyone has a sound that just like brings them joy. Mm-hmm. So my question is, what's the one sound in the world that you love that never fails to like make you smile?
I would say, well, I was going to say water at first, but then I'm like, that definitely calms me and stuff. But something that like takes me to that next level. I was raised in a church and I love pipe organ, like being in a big Gothic cathedral and that organ playing like an old hymn or something just takes me to that next level of like, connecting with myself, my faith, my community. And just, I love that sound of a pipe organ and how the air fills the room and just like it's just very powerful sound. So a cool pipe organ, like hitting those bass notes, is a cool one.
I love it. And that's such a unique sound. I love that every guest has such a different answer. So this is always like my favorite part. So before we end, I definitely want to say thank you so much for joining us. This was so good. And I'm so excited to keep hearing about all the great things you are doing in California.
Awesome. Thanks. It's great to meet you too, Dominique. Thanks for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
That's all for today's Active Listener. Thanks for tuning in. Share your comments on this episode on our Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn social media pages. You can visit our website at lightspeed-tech.com to learn more about our mission to ensure every student hears every word. And subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Until next time, let your listening be as active as your learning.